Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Mark, you won't believe what's been happening in the tech world today.
Oh man, don't tell me. Did we finally get those self-folding laundry robots we were promised?
Laughs. Not quite, but it's big. TikTok is officially unavailable in the US as of today. A full-on ban.
Wait, what? Seriously? I knew this was coming, but wow, that's actually happening.
It's wild, right? I mean, we're talking about 170 million users in the US, suddenly cut off.
I was just reading about this. This whole thing is because of that Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act, right?
Exactly. The government's been worried about TikTok's Chinese ownership for months, national security concerns and all that.
So basically what's happening is, they're saying that because TikTok is owned by a Chinese company, there's a risk that user data could be accessed by the Chinese government. It's kind of like, you know when you download an app and it asks for all those permissions? It's like that, but on a national scale.
Right, and there's also the worry about the Chinese government potentially influencing the content people see on the app, right?
Totally. Which, as a social media platform, that's a huge deal. This absolutely blows my mind, the scale of the implications here.
Okay, wait, let me get this straight. So the app is just gone? Poof?
Well, not exactly poof. Users are getting a message that prompts them to close the app or download their data.
Oh, that's something, I guess. But still, it's been removed from the Apple and Google app stores here.
Here's the thing about this ban. Dotting. It's not just about the tech. It has a huge impact on people, right? Think about all the creators who rely on TikTok for income.
That's a great point. I've been seeing all these posts on other platforms from TikTok creators, basically making compilations of their viral moments and asking followers to find them elsewhere.
It's kind of like that scene in Avengers Endgame where everyone is disappearing, but instead of Thanos, it's U.S. legislation.
Laughs times. That's one way to put it. But seriously, what are people going to do? Where are they all going?
I mean, Instagram and YouTube are probably going to see a surge. Some folks might even try those Chinese social media apps.
You know what this reminds me of? That time when Vine shut down. Everyone migrated to other platforms then too.
Oh yeah. But this is way bigger. We're talking about way more users and a much more established platform. I read a comment on Reddit earlier. Someone said, why can't they just remove our data?
I saw that too. And a lot of people saying they're just done and moving to Instagram.
It's a mess. And then you've got the whole political side of it. Trump, who initially wanted to ban it, is now saying he'll work with them.
Right? And even within his administration, there were disagreements. Some wanted stricter controls, others were worried about free speech.
Free speech, exactly. Even the CEO of TikTok, Shao Zichu, he called it a censorship issue.
I can already hear our listeners thinking, is this really about national security, or is something else going on?
It's a valid question. And honestly, it probably is a mix of both. Let me break this down real quick. On one hand, you have legitimate concerns about data privacy and national security. On the other hand, you have a hugely popular app, used by millions, suddenly gone. That has economic and social consequences.
It's a classic example of that tension between security and freedom, right? How much are we willing to give up for safety?
Totally. And where do we draw the line? I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen this kind of thing, and it definitely won't be the last.
So what's the takeaway here, Mark? What are we telling our listeners after this whole TikTok saga?
I think the big takeaway is that this is a turning point. This ban is forcing us to really think about the role of social media in our lives, about data privacy, and about the relationship between technology and national security.
And it's a reminder that these platforms we use every day. They're not just neutral spaces. They're influenced by real-world politics and power dynamics.
Exactly. And it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Will other countries follow suit? Will there be more regulations? Will TikTok find a way back?
So many questions. Well, one thing's for sure, it's going to be a fascinating space to watch. Thanks for breaking it down with me, Mark.
Anytime, Jenny. This stuff is just too wild to ignore. And to our listeners, keep those questions coming. We're in this crazy tech world together.